What are you doing out there making noise? Hmm? Hello. You being a good puppy? Well, I'm just hanging out today. I got a boo-boo. Alright? You be a good boy. You gonna take care of me? Hmm? Okay, thank you. Uh-oh. No. 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 Wanna come inside? Sit with me? Huh? I don't understand. Lefty. Lefty. What are you huffing and puffing about? Hey. I don't know what that means. Puppy. What does that mean? Okay. Hello there, buddy. You waiting on me? Okay. Hold on. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I hope y'all are having a great day today. We're gonna go for a little stroll here this morning. It's a beautiful day. The weather has been beautiful here. We're in the 70s now, just gorgeous. Yesterday it was kind of overcast all day. Didn't get a lot of solar charge, but it kept the temperature. It was probably 70 degrees the entire day. And I don't think it went down. I don't even think it got down to like 60 last night. And yes, that's a giant bag of dirty laundry. I'm due to go to the laundromat. I'm overdue, I should say. I was trying not to do a lot of heavy lifting. I've been really taking it easy, trying to minimize strains and stresses that I put on my abdomen. I haven't had any real gallbladder issues, but I think it's more diaphragm muscle, and I don't want to get into all kinds of medical stuff, and I don't know what's going on. Not really in any severe pain or anything, just noticed something. So I've just been taking it easy lately. And so I'm gonna get him out, take a little stroll, and bring y'all along with us. I'm coming. Can you sit? What a good boy. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, don't get your nose on the camera. Hold on. You're such a good puppy. Okay, let's go. Come on. Come on. See, he always waits for the okay signal. He did something years ago. He was probably 3 years old, and I gave him his food one evening, and he didn't go for it. He sat there looking at me. And so I had to give him a little hand motion to go ahead and eat his dinner. And ever since then, if I want him to, he'll just sit there and wait. And that was something he created himself. I did not do that. He wanted permission. And what you just saw him do, sitting there waiting for me to give him the okay to start the walk, that's very similar to what he does when his food bowl is full. So that's like a genetic thing he's got, waiting for permission. Now, boy, if he would only do the same thing when it's time to run off, when he's off the leash, if he would just wait for that permission, which would never come. Oh, we got military jets. I'm gonna show you a big blue sky, and somewhere up there is a jet. You hear that? Yeah. Very cool sound. See, we still got all of our lush greenery growing out here. Got to get out the weed whacker soon. And the lawnmower starting to get long. Yeah, I've been feeling better. I haven't had any real issues. Definitely eating way smaller meals. I've dropped some weight for sure. There's nothing wrong with that. I had a pretty good belly working from all the food I'd been eating. So nothing wrong with that. And one of you mentioned in the comments it looked like I'd lost weight. So not really trying to lose weight. That's just a byproduct of eating smaller meals. Pause video. We're all set. Sorry about that. I was talking with Bobby the other day, and he mentioned there was a Facebook post that someone shared. Someone that's camped in a different area than we are, down south of Quartzsite, on the south side of town. Someone was camped. From what he told me, I didn't see the Facebook post myself, but from what he told me, it was a female camper in a car camping, or an SUV, and she was kind of parked by herself, not in a group, in other words, so just kind of off by herself a little bit. And in the middle of the night, some guys came by on like four-wheelers or side-by-side, something like that, and threw a rock through the window of her car. Which, you know, I said to Bobby, I'm like, what? That's crazy, you know? I went and tried to find the story on Facebook, and I couldn't find it. But over the next couple of days, a handful of you contacted me with messages about that Facebook story. And a couple of you specifically saying that scared you. You know, hearing that had happened was scaring you, and that it was now like wearing on your mind and your plans for traveling. And I can understand that. You know, if you've never been out and camped in areas like this, the only barometer you have is what you see that's shared online or in videos, or that people talk about. And so you don't know because you've never been out there. So when I hear a story like that, and for something like that to happen, like where we are, would be really out of the ordinary. It would be very unusual for that to happen. Most all the people that are out here are good folk, and people that, you know, very friendly, not out for any kind of malicious intent. Now, you know, we have run across those kind of folks in the past. Just like in any setting, any social setting, you're going to have some goofballs, you know? And same thing out here. But for the most part, everyone is good people out here. And now that can change. Let me be clear, though. That can change with the area that you select to camp in. There are some areas that there might be gatherings or groups of people that maybe you wouldn't be comfortable near. What we always do when we're picking a place to camp is do a lot of recon work and look around at the surroundings and look at the kind of camps that you're seeing and the kind of rigs that are there. And that can tell you a lot about what that area is like socially. The area that we camp out here, you know, we're some miles away from town. And that fact right there, I think, lends itself to this area being populated by mainly folks that are, you know, that are mobile, obviously, because they can drive out to this area. They can drive back and forth to town for supplies. people that have good setups and good rigs. And when you look around at the camps out in this area, you know, you see decent looking rigs, you know, up to the really high end ones, camps that are clean and orderly and organized. And I think that speaks a lot towards the kind of people that are out here. So when I mentioned that if someone had a rock thrown through their vehicle window out here, it would be really unusual. It would, you know, I could almost say I could not see that happening out here. If somebody purposely did that, I'd be really surprised. But when I got messages from some of you, you know, referring to that story, it got me thinking that, you know, there have been a small number of occasions where I was not scared, but uneasy, I'm going to say, in where we were traveling and where we were camping. It hasn't happened in a long time. I mean, years. It was, I would get that feeling back early on because I just wasn't experienced, you know, and I didn't know things to look for and things to look out for. But that years ago, you know, that's way in our past. Except there was one night, and it was when we were traveling from Minnesota, from the sugar beet harvest, down here to Arizona. So just, you know, just the end of last year, the fall of last year. There was a night that I had an uneasy feeling. And when we get back to camp, I'm going to see if I still have footage. I might have dash cam footage of the area, and I'm going to show you and talk about, you know, what I was feeling and what I went through and what I did about it. So we're going to finish our walk here, and then when we get back to the rig, we'll go inside the campulance, and I'll finish this story. Okay, here we are inside the campulance. So I was able to find some dash cam footage of this, I'm going to call it incident. There wasn't an incident. So this was, like I said, this was when we were coming south from Minnesota from the sugar beet harvest, coming down here to Arizona. So we had been on the road for several days. You know, that was a tough trip for us, so I was already feeling a little scattered, kind of. We were running from an Arctic weather system that was coming in, and so every day, even though I didn't feel like driving, I kept going because the cold temperatures were coming. Like, it would be 60 like the day we were in a town. And if I looked at the weather the next day, it was going to be like 28. I mean, this weather system was massive. So we just kept going and going and going every day. And I was only driving, you know, just a handful of hours each day. So to get from northern Minnesota to southern Arizona, I think we were on the road 8 days, which is, you know, really unusual for us. I was really hammered from the sugar beet harvest. I mean, we finished on Sunday and we pulled out of there Monday morning and started traveling because of that weather front. So after a month at the sugar beet harvest and then right on the road, so I was a little bit just scattered, I guess. I wasn't in my full 100% ready to travel mode. So we'd have been on the road. I'm going to say we had been on the road 4 or 5 days already when this happened. And I found an overnight spot, you know, using maybe the Dirt app or freecampsites.net. I'm not sure. Found a spot. It was like, it was a little town, like wildlife area. It had a body of water, like a little lake. And it was a fishing spot. From the comments, I could see that people that had stayed there overnight, there were local people fishing and all that. So I said, okay, this sounds good. Wasn't too far off of our path. So I said, we're gonna choose this for the night and get a nice quiet night. You know, that's what I was looking for, a nice quiet night. And so we got the directions, you know, the GPS coordinates, got the directions to the place, and we started driving there. We pulled off pavement here. You can see we're pulling onto a gravel dirt road, and this was like a residential road. There were houses on here, actually. You can see the weather. You can see it's very overcast, and honestly, in hindsight, I think that had a little part to do with kind of my mood, you know. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't feeling 100%. I was just worn out. It was kind of gloomy weather, and I'm going to an unknown location, which is not unusual. I do that all the time. But I think that those things all adding together is what caused me to have this kind of fleeting moment of feeling a little bit sketched out kind of about where we were going. So coming up right here on the left, you see that turn right there? That wasn't the directions I had. The directions I had took us a little bit farther on down the road here, and then taking a left. And so the wildlife area is off to the left side of the road right here. Now here's where the directions had me turning, and there's a sign. It's, you know, posted the wildlife area, but the road was closed. It had barricades going across it. We couldn't go down that road. So now I'm going to call it frustrated. You know, long day. Again, probably the 5th day we'd been on the road. I'm following the directions, and there you can see the road is blocked off. So there's no way we're going down there. So now I'm thinking, oh, you know, I've got to find a different place. And that's something I don't like doing at the end of the day. I like to have something already set up, you know, when we're on the road, so that I have a goal and a target to go to, so I don't have to worry about it at the end of a driving day. So I remembered that there was a turn earlier. I didn't pay a lot of attention to it, but now that I couldn't go the way I was wanting to go, I said, well, let's come up here and let me try this road. It's kind of headed in the same direction as the other one. And when I looked at the map earlier, I could see that, you know, there were some roads going around into this wildlife area. So I decided to take a turn down here and see if this would take us to the same location. So here I can see the water now. So I figured, okay, this is the place, because it was on a lake. So now I'm feeling better that I'm going to get us to the location that we're going to stay the night. And I found out, you know, after we went for our hike, that road to the right, that went on to that other road that was blocked off. So you could take that road right up to the other side of those barricades. But for whatever reason, they had blocked that off, that entrance, and they had just this one entrance. So we're coming up here. I'm seeing the lake. You can see it's raining now. And so I see a little pull off here to the right, and I decided to pull in here, and we're going to go do a little bit of recon and see what this place looks like. Because right now I'm not loving it. You know, I remember the feeling. And again, like if it was a sunny, nice afternoon, I think my mood would have been considerably different. So I think I had that inside of me. I don't know that, you know, there really wasn't anything wrong with this area at all. But like I said, all these things added up to me feeling a little bit weirded out about the place. So we pulled in here. I got settled for a minute. Got Lefty on his leash, and we went for a walk, because I wanted to see what this place looked like before I was going to commit to staying the night. And we took a walk down along the left side of that lake, and there was actually a boat launch down there just around the bend, and there was a Class A set up. Some people were They looked like they'd been there for at least that day. And they were obviously staying overnight. They had their stuff set outside. So that made me feel better. There was a pickup truck and a trailer, a boat trailer. So obviously somebody had their boat out in the lake that had launched from that boat launch. Now, I mentioned that this is a fishing area, and some of the comments that past people that had stayed there, they'd said that local people came and went fishing. So when we took a walk around, we went down the other road. We walked around for quite a while. I wanted to get a look at the whole place and see, are there other people around here? If so, what do they look like? And all we saw was that one Class A down there. So after that, we got up in the truck and buttoned up, and I made something to eat and kind of relaxed a bit. And sure enough, probably 6 p.m., 5:30, 6 p.m., a couple of cars showed up, and some, father and son with fishing poles, and then a family with fishing poles. They got out and walked. It's kind of like a dam or a dike in between two ponds, two lakes, and they walked out on there and they did some fishing. And I kind of kept my eye on them. And as the sun was going down, they all packed up and got back in their vehicles and took off. But I did watch what was going on. They looked like totally normal folks, and they didn't bother me at all being there. And once they took off, now it's starting to get dark, and I had the generator out actually because we hadn't gotten good charging for the last several days with all the clouds. So I put the generator out and ran that, and then buttoned that back up and put it away before we closed up for the night. And we spent the night there and had a very quiet night. There was a lot of birds and a lot of bird noise and such. But other than that, it was a nice quiet night. Was I scared being there? I wasn't scared. I just, for some reason, I don't know what it was. And, trust your instincts is something I always say. And my instincts didn't tell me that there was something wrong with the place. I think it was more that I just wasn't feeling super great. And the weather, it wasn't a great day. It wasn't a great trip overall just because of the weather was bad. But after we did the recon and, walked around safely, checked out other people that were there and kept my eyes on the people that were fishing, we had a really quiet night there and got up before the sun the next morning. And you can see here, I got Lefty out for his walk in the morning. We didn't spend a lot of time. I took him for just a short walk so he could get in a whizzer. And so after warming up the truck for a bit and taking Lefty out, we got in the rig and drove back off. If I had gotten down there and if I had seen some people that didn't look right to me, we would have taken off. I could have stayed back at that truck stop 5 miles up the road. We could have gone back there and spent the night if I needed to. But everything kind of checked out. I didn't see anything, and we walked pretty extensively around the place. I didn't see anything that made me feel like we needed to leave. But that's an instance that stood out in my mind because I haven't had that feeling in a long time. Many nights we spend at places we've never spent before. And so I'm always doing a lot of, keeping track of what's going on around me and watching and listening. And anytime that I pull into an area for the night, I've pulled into places to stay the night and left because I didn't like the way it was. I didn't like the way it looked. I didn't like the area it was in. So in those cases, I actually have gone and moved on to a different place. Even though I didn't feel like it, I didn't feel like staying at those places. Whenever you're looking to camp in a place or just do an overnight, you really got to have your focus on what's going on around you. And actually that goes for all the time. Always be aware of your surroundings. If you're going to go and to get in your rig and it's a place that you're not familiar with, definitely scan all around you before you open your door. you know, before you get out of your rig, scan all around. That's just smart traveling for anybody. And in, you know, in this case here, I did a lot of touring around to make sure that everything was good, that there were no surprises around the corner, which made me feel settled to stay there. I hope the woman that had the rock thrown at her car, I hope she's okay and that her car is getting fixed up. That's a terrible thing to happen, and such a unique outlying story. You know, I haven't heard anything like that. I have heard stories of people having things stolen from their camp areas, and when I see what the camp area was, like where they were, kind of like, oh, okay, you know, because there are some areas that are a little more volatile than others. So again, pick your area wisely and you'll have a much greater chance of having a really good experience. Those of you that saw that story and it was going to deter you from your travel plans, I hope that it doesn't, because again, we've been 5 years on the road and nothing even close to something like that has happened to us. In fact, what I just shared with you, that little where I was feeling uneasy story, that's about as serious a thing as I could come up with. We did have the incident with the guy at the gas station trying to stop me, but that happens, you know, that happens everywhere. That can happen at the gas station when you're driving to work one morning. You know, that's a pretty common thing. Most of the folks out here are good people. They really are. And it would be surprising for something like that to happen. So just pick your places wisely. Trust your instincts. You know, if something doesn't look right, don't stay there. Go find a different place. It's that easy. So quite a contrast between what happened with her in that story and me having just an uneasy feeling at one overnight stop that we were at. So if you're planning to travel, continue with your plans. Don't let that story, because you don't know the context, you don't know what happened, you don't know really all the details. So don't let that deter you from your plans. Be aware of where you're going and just pay attention to what's going on around you, and you'll have a really good time out here. Thanks for being with us inside the Campulence. Beautiful morning. We're actually out walking before I've had my coffee. I've changed my routine a little bit, and I'm tricking Lefty, because you all know, like as soon as he sees me like pouring the coffee, he starts grumbling, because he always knew that the last thing I did before our walk, hey, let's go this way. Come on, pup. Don't be putting the brakes on. Come on. Dude. Come on. Left. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. What are you doing? Watch if I come here and say, okay, come on, let's go. Come on. Anyways, thanks everyone for being here with us today. Everybody take care, be safe. We'll see y'all again really soon. Come on, puppy. Let's walk this way. That is not this way. That's that way. That's my boy. That's my boy.